Okay, let's dive in. Shabuzi at the Met Gala. Wow.
Yeah,
That turquoise outfit.
yeah,
It's everywhere online now, right? And suddenly everyone's digging up those old Katt Williams comments again.
exactly. It's kind of fascinating how one look can just reignite this whole conversation.
So the big question people are asking is, was it just fashion? Or is there maybe something more to it, like this whole humiliation ritual idea that keeps popping up?
Well, that's what we're going to explore.
Yeah.
It's basically the return of these claims about Hollywood rituals,
Yeah.
all kicked off again by Shabuzi and those Katt Williams clips resurfacing.
Right. And you see the camps forming online, don't you? One side is like, oh, come on, it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And the other side is pointing straight at that outfit saying, see? Told you so.
Yeah, definite polarization there.
So just to be clear, our mission here isn't to pick a side, not at all. We just want to, understand the arguments. What's the evidence people are citing? Or maybe the lack of evidence.
Exactly. Lay out the different perspectives.
We'll look at Katt Williams's original points about the dresses, how that idea kind of evolved.
Right.
The examples the internet's buzzing about, Dave Chappelle's story, which is, wow, pretty interesting.
Very interesting, yeah.
Kevin Hart's situation, which seems a bit complicated. And then, of course, the arguments defending Shabuzi's actual outfit choice. Sound good.
Sounds like a plan. Let's start with Katt Williams then. Where did this all begin?
Well, the source material suggests his initial focus, like way back, was really zeroed in on black male stars.
Mm-hmm.
And this pressure, he said, they faced to wear dresses, he framed it as a symbolic emasculation, undermining their manhood, basically.
Right. That was the core of his early argument, using clothing as a symbol to diminish status or power, in his view.
And those specific older claims, they've just found new life because of the Met Gala. It's like fuel on the fire for people who already believed him.
Definitely. But it seems like Katt Williams himself has kind of moved the goalposts a bit since then. It's not just about the dress anymore for him.
Exactly. That's what the sources indicate. More recently, he's been saying, focusing only on the dress is kind of missing the forest for the trees.
Okay.
He talks about the bigger picture, which he calls the ritual itself.
Ah, so the act, not just the specific item of clothing. And what's the purpose of this ritual, according to him?
Well, he claims it's all about testing things like loyalty, obedience, and submission. Seeing who's willing to play the game, essentially.
Okay, that's a shift. Loyalty and submission.
Yeah, and hold on, because it gets, well, even more intense from there. He apparently connects these rituals to things like Baphomet worship.
Wow, okay.
And elite-level occult symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
He even brings his own interpretation of transgender into it and talks about, normalizing goat imagery over sheep imagery.
Yeah.
It's quite a leap from just talking about dresses.
That is a significant expansion, yeah. Moving from social commentary, maybe, into much more esoteric or conspiratorial territory. It often happens that way, doesn't it? Theories broaden.
Seems so. And the internet, naturally, has run with this broader idea. The source mentions a whole bunch of examples people online are flagging now as these supposed humiliation rituals.
Like what? What kind of examples are we talking about?
Well, the list includes Caitlyn Jenner's Vanity Fair cover, Sam Smith in that, blow-up latex thing.
Right, yeah.
The Will Smith slap at the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye's wife Bianca basically naked at the Grammys. John Cena presenting naked at the Oscars, too. Even DO8 with that fake black eye at a Balenciaga show.
Huh. That's quite a mix of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fashion choices, award show moments,
Yeah.
publicity stunts.
So many different things, yeah.
And it's important to stress, right, that these are interpretations. People online fitting these events into that humiliation ritual framework that Katt Williams put out there. The source isn't saying these were rituals.
Exactly. It's the internet connecting dots, maybe dots that aren't even there. How do you tell the difference between real symbolism and just people seeing what they want to see?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Interpretation versus intent?
Yeah. But then you have Dave Chappelle. His story adds such a complex layer here.
Right, that Oprah interview back in 2006.
Yeah. He talked about feeling pressured, really pressured, to wear a dress for a movie role. He was supposed to be in it with Martin Lawrence.
Well, he felt it wasn't just about that one movie, right?
No, he said it felt like a test, like part of a pattern he was seeing happen to other black actors. It wasn't just a random costume choice in his mind.
And wasn't there something about the script? Like they had another version ready to go?
Yes. That detail is wild. Apparently there was a different script handy where the dress wasn't needed at all, which makes you think, okay, if it wasn't crucial for the story, why push for it so hard?
It definitely raises questions about the motives behind those kinds of requests. especially when the person involved feels that kind of pressure. It speaks to maybe power dynamic.
Absolutely. It makes his account feel very concrete,
Yeah.
compared to just interpreting outfits.
It does lend a certain weight being a first-hand account from inside the industry.
Okay, so then let's talk about Kevin Hart, because his situation seems contradictory.
How so?
Well, initially, he talked a lot about protecting his brand, right?
Right.
Setting boundaries, implying there were lines he wouldn't cross, possibly including wearing a dress, though maybe he didn't say it explicitly.
Okay, yeah, I remember him talking about building his brand, being careful.
But then, later on, he did wear a dress on Saturday Night Live. He played a female Pope character.
Ah, right, the SNL sketch.
And some people point out that his career really took off even more after that, which of course loops right back into Katt Williams' whole theory about playing the game.
So the narrative becomes, he resisted, then he complied, then he was rewarded.
That's how some connect the dots, yeah. The source even mentions Katt commenting on Hart's situation, saying something like, Kevin didn't need to worry because there was a long line of dress-wearing people before him, and that it was just his turn. Katt also apparently added that comment about people who go against the Illuminati facing trouble. It all feeds his narrative of a system, right? Rewards for going along, punishment for pushing back.
It certainly reinforces Williams' central idea. Comply with these potentially demeaning requests, advance your career, refuse and face mental roadblocks. The SNL instance, viewed through that lens, becomes evidence for his supporters.
But okay, we absolutely have to look at the other side here, especially regarding Shaboozey, his fans, fashion critics. They have a very different take.
Of course, what are they saying?
They're really emphasizing the context. The Met Gala theme this year was Sleeping Beauties, reawakening fashion, but the dress code was the Garden of Time, often interpreted through specific lenses. Some argue his look fit perfectly with interpretations focusing on superfine tailoring black style.
Okay, so linking it directly to the event's theme and dress code.
Exactly, and pointing out that he was showcasing a black designer. Plus, bringing up the whole concept of dandism.
Dandism, explain that a bit.
Well, the idea is that it's a style, often quite flamboyant and detailed, that was really shaped and embraced by black men historically, a way to express individuality, style, cultural pride, reclaiming faction.
Ah, okay, so viewing his outfit not as submission, but as an expression of black creativity and historical fashion lineage, that's a completely different frame.
Totally different. It's rooted in fashion history, the specific event, cultural expression, not hidden rituals.
So you have these two really fundamentally opposed interpretations of the exact same outfit.
Yeah. One sees a potential symbol in a hidden, maybe sinister system. The other sees fashion, art, history, and context.
And that kind of sums up the whole challenge here, doesn't it?
Right.
It's incredibly difficult to know the intent behind any public appearance or fashion choice.
For sure. What one person reads as humiliation, another sees as boundary-pushing art, or just following a trend.
And the words themselves, humiliation, ritual, they're subjective. What feels humiliating to one person might not to another. What constitutes a ritual versus just a repeated behavior or industry norm?
It depends so much on your own beliefs.
Definitely. So just to kind of wrap up where we've been, we looked at Katt Williams' claims, how they started with the dress idea and grew into these bigger theories about loyalty tests, obedience, even occult stuff. We touched on those varied examples. The internet points to the slap, the outfits, all that. Dave Chappelle's personal story about feeling pressured.
Which adds a very personal dimension.
Yeah. Then Kevin Hart's situation, that apparent contradiction in how it feeds the narrative for some. And crucially, the counter-arguments defending Shaboozey's look based on the Met Gala theme, black designers, and dandism.
And throughout this, we've just been exploring these ideas and claims as they appear in the discourse in our source material. We're not endorsing any one viewpoint. Absolutely not, just laying it all out there. So the final thought, I guess, for you listening is, considering all this, the different ways people interpret things, the stories from inside, the defenses, what do you make of all the unconventional, sometimes really boundary-pushing fashion and behavior we see in Hollywood?
Is it just individual artists expressing themselves? Is it just trends? Or could there be other things going on beneath the surface, like some of these theories suggest?
Definitely something to chew on next time you see something unexpected on a red carpet.